Hey everyone, Leo with Dreaming Tree, and welcome to the assembly video for our Light Up Butterfly gift box. I've got all my pieces cut out here, as should you. And the first thing we're going to do is create the base of the box. And all we need for that are these 5 pieces here. There's a liner, the main bottom, and then of course the wall. Now, one thing we're going to do first, you want to do this while everything's flat. Okay. I tried to do this with the teeth bent, and I accidentally ended up ripping the teeth. We're going to very gently with a dowel take and just kind of create a slight curvature. You'll see that there's a little score mark here. There's 2 actually. You want to do it just beyond that little score mark and try to make it as equal as possible. We do the same thing here, just to give it a little bit of a bend, so that it's not fighting itself. Once we actually start, when you put the lid on top of the base here, it'll just look a lot nicer. Now you can go ahead and fold the teeth over. This may seem like a lot of little teeth, but I promise you, we've been doing this for quite a long time, and we've got this down to a science because we have a little skeleton piece that is going to make this a breeze, and you'll see what I mean here. We do want to fold these, try to get them folded as accurately as possible. Just fold them over. Okay, get all the... Usually I do this before I start filming, but because I needed to train these pieces, I didn't do it beforehand, so you're going to have to watch me do it for just a second. Not a big deal. Okay. All right, so now we have here, again, this piece has the 2 little score marks in the center. You're going to do valley folds on these. And then what we're going to do is take and connect these to these 2 pieces. You want to make sure that the teeth are always pointing in the same direction. Okay, so let's start here by putting a little bit of glue on this first tab. Spread that out. Okay, you can put that down on your surface. And press that into place. Like so. And then this one will go over to the other side here and apply our glue. I'm going to spread that out to the very edge. And we're going to do the same thing here. Make sure the teeth are all pointing down. Okay, this you can still do flat on your surface for now. And just line that up as accurately as you can. Now, to verify that you've got it lined up properly, you can fold it over on itself, and these 2 edges here should be sitting perfectly flush on top of each other. Okay, there we go. Now, we're going to go down here. There's 1 tab left. It's a little bit thinner than the other ones. Okay. And just going to connect that. You want to fold this too. Just give this a fold. And that's also going to be a valley fold ultimately, so you can go ahead and fold it that way and then get that connected. Once you have the valley fold, you can unfold it so that it's easier to line it up. Then you can actually press it onto like this. You can't put this whole thing down flat, but you can flatten it here while you push down on the tab if it makes it easier for you. There we go. Okay, so again, be kind of patient with this. These are going to be valley folds. So is this. Okay, and you'll see here in a second. So we're going to take this piece that is called BL, and now you can see this section here is a little bit shorter, this section is a little bit longer. The longer section is going to be this part of the wing, like this. So we're taking this little piece that's labeled BL, okay, and what we're going to do is this tab right here, I'm going to put some glue on that, and slide this in here. We're going to try our best to make sure that it is right in the center of this little piece. And then you can press that down and hold it. Just make sure it's nice and centered. Okay. This is going to flare up. and then it's going to come back around. So here's what we're going to do. We're going to flip this over now and just kind of try to keep it in this position. We're going to start on one side and we're going to apply glue to a handful of tabs. I'm going to do like 5 at a time. Okay, so there's the 5. We'll fold them over. Make sure they're under this piece here, and then press this down and push this way up against this little liner piece on the inside. And then you can push down from the inside onto those tabs. Just make sure it's kind of hugging and going up as far as it can up against that little wall. See that? Okay, now let's go over to the other side and let's do like 5 at a time. 3, 4, 5, I'll do 6. Fold them over. They should be flat on your surface. And then push this up against this little liner piece while you kind of shape the butterfly. Push it as far as it'll go. Okay, there we go. Now that we have those, well, you know what? Let's just keep working. Now, let's do this. We're going to take and now anchor this bottom piece. So there's one tab that's connected to where these 2 folds are. Go ahead and put a little bit of glue on that. Tuck that under. And we need to pop that right into the middle of the butterfly as far as it'll go. And then just press and hold that down. And you can see what's happening here. It's starting to take shape. Okay. Now there's a little bit of resistance. Don't worry too much about that. This little area here is where things will get a little more difficult, but it won't be too bad, I promise you. Okay. All right, so now we can start working. Let's actually go down here where we just anchored that center tab, and let's do like 5 here. 3, 4, 5. Fold those over and push down as you're pushing up against this little liner piece, the BL piece. And then just push down from the inside. Just like that. Make sure those 5 tabs are making contact. Then we can go over to this side. We're just kind of working our way slowly along the wings here. 3, 4, 5. Fold them over and under. And push down as you're pushing in. Try to make that as tight up against that liner piece as you can get. Okay, there we go. And then we can head over here. 1, 2, 3, 4, 5. Well, let's just go 6. Fold them over and continue pushing in. I'm going to push down with my right hand and push in with my left. Just hug that curve. There we go. Looking good. And then let's go over here. Just slowly but surely, working our way around. 1, 2, 3, 4, 5, 6. Tuck them under. Should be flat on your surface. And then press that down. Okay, then let's head over here. We're working our way around this way so that when we get to this little fold here in the center, there's not as much force working against us. 2, 3, 4, 5, 6. I think that's a good amount. You can try to do more if you want. If you feel comfortable, that's fine. And just hug that liner. There we go. And we'll go over here. I don't know if it really makes sense to go back and forth, but my gut tells me that it's helpful. Okay, for whatever reason, I feel like I have more power and my right hand to push down. So that's what I'm going to do. Okay, there we go. And then this is a little bit of a tight curve here. Now we're going to have to sort of force that in a little bit now in order for this to hug properly. And I'm gonna work my way over here from this side. So let's go 1, 2, 3, 4, 5. Tuck those under. And here's where you're gonna have to kind of give it a little push. And this needs to start kind of working its way in. Okay. If it doesn't go all the way in, that's okay. Just try to get it in there now. Okay, let's keep working towards that little corner. And we'll go 1, 2, 3, 4, 5. Tuck that under. And just press that up against the liner. Push it in as far as it'll go. It's a very odd shape. Okay, it's okay. There we go. And you can see how it's kind of naturally now in this little corner. It's just kind of fitting into place without much resistance. Tuck those under and just get those lined up as accurately as you can. Don't destroy it, obviously. There we go. And that just leaves these fellas here. And that went together perfectly. 3 more there. And press those down. Oh, almost dropped you. There we go. Okay, you can take this and kind of, if you fold this a little bit, it might not fight you so much. And it has a tendency, because of the shape, to kind of bow outward. You're not going to be able to do much about that. Okay, let's go down here. Actually, let's do these up here. Okay. 1, 2, 3, 4, 5, 6. Tuck them under. And follow that curve. Push down from inside, push up against that liner from the outside. Try to get it as accurate as you can. Okay. There we go. Now remember this one here. This we need to sort of start pushing inward a little bit. There we go. Let's get these going here. 3, 4, 5, 6. Tuck them in and under. And again, that little guy needs to start working its way in there to allow for the rest of it to get in there. The closer you get, the more tabs you have pushed down and in, the easier that little corner will get. There's a little bit of friction there that's keeping it from really getting in there. That's okay. We'll get there. It already is. Okay, so I'm going to go ahead and do these now. 2, 3, 4. Tuck those under. And we'll just push that into place. As far as it'll go. There we go. Now we have these fellas here. Just a few left. 1, 2, 3, 4, 5. I'm not going to worry about that last one there. Not yet, anyway. We'll take care of them in a second. Okay, there we go. And you can see how it just naturally, as you work your way in, it finds where it needs to be. I just have 2 left. These 2 fellers here, you can actually just do this from the outside. But I'm going to do it from the inside because that way you can really push down right there. And that sort of forces it into that little crevice. There we go. Okay. So there is our base. That was a little bit of work. Now we're going to cover this up, and you can see how perfect that looks. I'm going to put glue on mostly just the perimeter here. And because there's so much surface area, we may need to go in and kind of fix this or paint a little bit of glue around some of these areas in case it just doesn't all sit flat for us, which is possible. It'll possibly happen. Get the centers aligned first, and then just kind of work your way around the rest of the perimeter. And just keep pressing down all the way around. And I just know for a fact that I'm gonna have to go and kind of clean up these edges a little bit using my little painting method. And that's expected because, like I said, we're dealing with a lot of surface area here. Okay. And we're working with round shapes. They're not always the easiest, so give yourself some credit. That looks good. You got a nice gap there. We'll have to fix that. That's okay. But you know what? It's actually not that bad. So there's our container. Perfect. All right. So we'll put that off to the side. Like I said, I may go around with a scrap piece of paper and just add a little bit of glue to it. And if I do have any little gaps here, I can stick that right in there and then just press and hold that down right in those little areas that need a little extra love. That one looks okay. There's a gap here. Just paint a little glue there and press that down. You get the idea. Okay, so I'm not going to bore you with that because I like to get real tedious with my work just so that it looks nice and polished, especially because I'm going to be sending this out to hundreds of thousands of people, and you know, I need to show you guys that this can essentially come out looking like a 3D printed project if you just take your time and do it right. Okay, that's fine. All right, so now we're gonna do something fun. Your fairy lights really illuminate this. We added some foil to kind of create like a little internal reflector so that it kind of amplifies the power of these little fairy lights. And it actually does a really good job. Here, this is a prototype. I'm gonna show you here. The fairy light's just Velcroed in there, and you can see how beautiful that looks. Okay, so we're gonna go with Scotch tape, and you'll notice on this piece here that there's a series of little markers, okay? And these are just recommendations for where to place the lights, okay? And you can literally just take a piece of Scotch tape, grab the light, start anywhere you want, and just press it down, okay? And then what I'm gonna do is I'm gonna kind of work my way around the perimeter, and then I'll go inside, and we should have plenty of room to, there should be plenty of slack, I guess is what I'm trying to say, to get the little controller out beyond the wing. Okay, and you might need to kind of, bring the little metal parts in a little bit and kind of wind them or place them on top of each other. And that's fine. As long as the light is bouncing around, it's all good. It doesn't have to be pretty, it just has to get done. Okay. And then I'm going to go here, just kind of work inside the wing one at a time. Like I said, don't worry about it making it pretty. This is all going to be covered up anyway. Just keep that tape within the area of the foil. Okay. That one's going to go there. And obviously you want to use tape that's transparent so that the light can still kind of penetrate. There we go. Make sure you got enough tape. I'm worried that I'm going to run out here. There we go. Okay. That's going right there. And then I'm gonna go right here. It doesn't really matter. Like I said, just try to make sure that you get these. Okay, thank goodness. So this tape that I was using first is a little more transparent or translucent. That almost has a, this tape almost has a little diffusing effect. Okay, there we go. That's okay. Should still be enough light. And then the vellum, of course, is going to diffuse it even more. So it's fine as long as we have light. And the cool thing about these, well, most fairy lights, I guess, are like this, where you can replace the battery pack. And I'm going to end up with some extra lights, which is fine. You can always just kind of add some in between, in the gaps, fill in the gaps, you know, for whatever reason. Maybe the ones that we used in our prototype were a different model. But this one has quite a few extras, and that's okay. That just means mine's going to be a little bit brighter. So if yours are like that too, just find some areas where you don't have as many lights. This middle part, it's kind of pointless to put a light there because there's black there. You're not even going to see it. Okay, I'm going to go right here. And you can just put it on top of the wire. It's fine. All this stuff will... If you want to use hot glue, you can too. I think it's a little more tedious, a lot more work. It won't go as quick, but that's up to you. Just give that a nice firm press wherever you place it. I'm going to do one more on this wing. I have 1, 2, 3, 4, 5. I still have quite a few lights here. I'm just going to stagger these as much as possible. Okay, let's get another one right here. Put one here. Let's put one right here. Just press that down nice and firm. And the last one I'll put right here. And then the little cord, there's a little piece here. You can see how we have this little thing. Okay, what it's going to do is it's going to go like this. And we want that cord coming out on this side, and then we're going to tape it or Velcro it underneath. Okay, so I'll explain this in a second. There are no score lines on this because we wanted this to be nice and strong, but we are going to fold these over. I'll show you how that works in just a second. Okay, so let's do this real quick. Let's take this, and we're going to glue this to this white piece. There's going to be a little bit of a border, which is fine. So go ahead and flip this around and apply your glue. It doesn't need to be perfect, we just need it to stay in place. So give it a good amount of glue. Okay. And pop that into position. Make sure you have a nice even border all the way around. And press that down. Okay, this little controller is going to go right here, and we're just going to use, I'm going to use some Velcro dots, and I'm literally just going to Velcro it to one of these wings. Okay, if you want to use hot glue, you can. Just make sure that the side that contains the battery is facing up. So if they want to replace it, because I can see I can see especially, well, I'm going to give this one to Gabby because she already saw it and she wants it. It's going to be a little nightlight. So you can use it as a gift box, and then of course once they're done, once they get their gift, it's a cool little nightlight. So I'm going to get 2 Velcro dots, put it on the back of this, like so, then peel off the other backing, like that, and then just pop that right onto the wing, okay? Then what's going to happen is these little guys, we're going to glue these to the inside of the lid, okay? So you can fold these over, kind of get them ready. These little tabs here are the only tabs that are going to have glue. And this is going to be facing up through our beautiful vellum, okay? So we can kind of put this off to the side for just a second. Speaking of the vellum, I do want to talk about this real quick. This is a PDF file that you just need to print out. You don't even bring it into your cutting software. Just print it directly on some vellum from your printer, from your computer. Make sure that when you're cutting it, or printing it out, I should say, that you select actual size, and then we're just going to hand cut this. Okay, and we did it this way just to make it more universal and friendly for everybody, so that you don't really need to do a print and cut. And you don't really have the option to do a print and cut anyway. I didn't give that option, because then I'm just going to create more confusion. Okay, so just cut around here. It doesn't need to be perfect, just cut on the lines. And I actually cut out 2 of these because what I find is when I print my own vellum, sometimes it's not, the colors aren't rich enough unless you stack them, which is why I did 2. Okay, so I'm just cutting it like this just to get this little hanger off. Okay, and then I'll go in and cut the rest of these little details. Still pretty sharp with a scissor, even though I've been having machines cut all my stuff for me for such a long time. Again, just cutting around the lines. It's almost like we're going back to grade school. Just bring that in. Kind of hate cutting this way, but it'll work. There we go. Okay, and like I said, if you do 1 layer, that's fine. If you do 2, that's okay too. I'll show you how this works in a second. We'll get this layer put in place. There we go. Okay, so the vellum is going to be sandwiched between 2 layers of black. Okay, and these are the 2 layers of black. Okay, I'm going to have the texture side up, and you can see here, you want to try to, we made the, you can see how some of the colors fit perfectly over the cutouts. Okay, so let me show you this way. See how it fits perfectly on there, like that? Okay, so it may be easier, what I would do is I would start by anchoring this in the center. So there's no light shining through the middle. What I would do is just kind of lay that down, line it up like so, and then once you have it, just press down in the middle. Okay, just like that. Give that a few seconds. There we go. And then we can always take, and these little white areas, these white areas are not going to show any light. So these are the perfect areas, except for these ones on the perimeter here. So you want to be careful. It would help to kind of go back and forth, flip it down and then flip it up to see where you can and can't put glue. Okay, so for this one here, you got to keep it out in the perimeter. You can go in a little bit. And again, this is going to be sandwiched, so it doesn't need to be perfect, but you just need to make it accurate. And try to get a little bit of glue in the center as well, just like that, okay? And then we can lift this up. Let me clean off my nozzle here. We'll do the same thing on this side. And you can do dots if you want to do dots. Just keep them around the perimeter out here. Okay, there's nothing showing through there. And then you've got some little areas out here. There's an area there. I think that's enough. And then press that down. Oops. Okay, there we go. So that is very nice. And now, because I'm doing 2 layers, because I really want to make it vibrant, now I'm going to have to line these up as well. Okay, and these are the same size. So what you can technically do is just follow where you have your glue before. And then that way you know that you're putting it in spots where you don't have to worry about the glue showing up. Whoops, I literally just, and then put some in the middle here. Okay. And then just do your best to line that up as accurately as you can. And if it's not totally perfect, it's still gonna look great. That I promise you. Okay, see how much more vibrant that looks. Okay, now we'll flip this over and we're gonna put this last layer on. So again, with this one though, I can actually go out further onto the black. Excuse me. Just stay away from the little cutouts, obviously. Get some on its little butt. And we'll do the antenna later. I'm not worried about that right now. There we go. And if we need to go in and do a little bit of painting to close this up perfectly, we can do that, but try to get it at least sandwiched as good as you can. Okay. And then we'll kind of work our way around the perimeter with our little scrap pieces of paper. Okay. And I'm just putting a little bit of glue on a scrap piece here and tucking it in between any little areas where I see a gap. Okay, so just do that all the way around until you got a nice butterfly sandwich. There we go. Okay, so check this out. You can see how it's very bright in here, so you can't really see it all that well, but you will. Okay, get this on here. Tuck that in between the gaps, rub off the excess, press it down. Looks like mine shifted a little bit, but it's still pretty close. Okay, so anyway, close up the gaps. And then we'll move on and create the lid, which is kind of similar to the base. It's not as deep or tall, which will make it a little bit easier. Okay. But yeah, just go around and clean up the edges, because this is going to be the visible part on top of the lid. And obviously we want to make sure that it looks nice and crisp. Okay. All right, so either side will work. All right, so just like we did with the base, we're going to take these 3 pieces that make up the lid, and I'm going to train them with my dowel. Okay. And just at least get these tabs scored or folded. And again, you have valley folds here. This long one, like I mentioned, is going to be the top, the main part of the wings, like this. So let's go ahead and connect these now. Make sure the teeth are all pointing in the same direction. Okay, spread that glue out to the very edge. Teeth going in the same direction. Okay, there we go. Then we'll go over to the other side, grab this piece here, get that folded like a valley. Apply your glue to this tab. Spread that out. Okay. And pop that into place. All right, and finally, this last little tab here, you can press that down flat. Let's apply our glue to this little tab. So it's essentially the same thing as the base. Okay, and fold it onto itself. Just make sure it's aligned properly. Press that down. There we go. Give that a few seconds before we start getting crazy with it again. Okay, so now remember this longer side up here, it's going to be this part of the wing. Oh yeah, let's go ahead and fold these teeth down. Make sure they're all even. Even Steven. I don't know why I just said that. I don't even like when people say that. Even Steven. What does that even mean? Maybe it means something. It has to mean something, right? Okay. Fold the teeth down. And then there we go. Now remember which part was the top of the wings, which part was the bottom. This longer side is obviously the top. So this piece here is going to act like our little skeleton. Okay, and I'm going to put my texture down. And just like we did with the base, we're going to anchor it to this tab here, the one in the middle that is right next to the two folds. We're going to shove that in there, get it nice and centered in as far as it'll go. Again, making sure it's centered. And press that down. And just hold. Okay, you can see that. And then I may try something a little different this time. And that is gluing this part in first. I'm not sure how that'll work, but it might. My old science teacher used to say, there's more than one way to skin a cat. I don't know why you would do that, but that's what he said. There's probably different ways of saying that, but let's see if this will work a little bit better. If we shove that in there, and maybe start from there instead. It might make it a little easier. You really got to get it in there though. Okay, well, maybe. Yeah, you know, that might actually be a better idea. So let's try that. Let's try here first. We'll put glue around the two tabs that are next to this fold. Make sure this wing's all the way in. And then grab it and pop it in, fold it, and push in there as far as it'll go. And press around those tabs. Yeah, you know, that might be easier. And then you can take and, yeah, it does make it easier. Okay, so I'm going to grab right around that little crease there. I'm just going to start with 4, 5, or 6 little tabs, put some glue on there, tuck them under. It should be flat on your surface. Push in from the outside and push down from the inside. Just kind of hug that curve. Okay, let's go over here now. 1, 2, 3, 5, 6. Fold them over and under. Okay, and then push down from the inside, push in from the outside, press down, nice and firm. There we go. I'm going to go up here. And 1, 2, 3, 4, 5, 6. Fold over. Push in from the outside, down from the inside. There you go. You got this. You know what, this one just might be easier because the walls are not as tall. So I think that could be playing a role here. We'll do the rest of these. Fold them over. Push down. Push in from the outside, down from the inside. There we go. Okay, so that's working out pretty good, actually. All right, now I'm going to go down here, and this little tab in between these two score marks, let's get that anchored right in the middle. Push that in as far as it'll go, nice and centered, and push down. There we go. Okay, we'll bring that wing in, and let's go over here to this corner, and let's put glue on these two tabs that are just on either side of this little valley where the wings meet, where the bottom and the top wings meet. You want to take this and kind of fold it in as far as it'll go. There's a little bit of resistance now. It's okay. Just tuck it in there as far as it'll go, and then press down on those two tabs so it holds it. There we go. Very nice. Okay. And then you can see it's pretty much holding its shape now. Let's go back over here and start working on the top part of the left wing. There's 6 there. Fold them over, tuck them under, pushing down from the inside, pushing in from the outside, like so. There we go. And let's go over here. I don't want to do them all sequentially because I know that sometimes as you do that, you're kind of stretching the paper out and then it never seems to fit right. So it's always a good idea to kind of stagger things and not do them in perfect sequence. That's just something I've learned over the years and it's never failed me. Okay, so there's just a few left here on this part of the bottom wing. Fold that over, tuck it under, pushing down from the inside, in from the outside, like so. Okay, I'm going to go up here now. Again, super odd shape. So give yourself some credit if you nail this one. It's not the easiest. As long as you follow this little skeleton piece though, you should be in pretty good shape. Okay, we'll go over here. go. And there it is. Okay, so that just leaves this little guy down here. And almost done. We got about 5 or 6 there. Just kind of starting in the middle, moving my way out to that little corner. And then there's a handful left here. I think we can get these all done in one fell swoop. And then the rest of this is pretty much cake. That's the hardest part. Okay, so the next thing we're going to do is we're going to take this silver piece. The silver piece is going to go inside, not only to strengthen the, excuse me. All right, so the next thing we're going to do is we're going to take this silver piece, and you definitely want to use foil for this because this is going to act as another bounce to help that light really bounce around. Okay, so let's go ahead and begin applying our glue, especially around the perimeter. And it'll probably help if I hold this. And this piece is offset, meaning that it's not going to be perfectly flush all the way around. And you just want to get some glue in some of the thicker spots. And then take this, make sure that it's shiny side up, and try not to cover up any of the cutouts. We want that light to be able to shine through. So line that up as accurately as you can, just like that. Press that down. Just like that. So we got the lights, because it's going to be bouncing like crazy in there. Okay, so next, what we're going to do is we're going to take this piece, okay, and these little tabs here, we're going to take and apply glue to them, and we're going to glue them to the inside of the lid, and the bottom of the tab is going to be flush with the bottom of the lid, like that. So these long little tabs here, just want them to be flush with this surface here. I'm going to go over to this side now. And you may want to just be patient with this, especially the first few, while it sort of anchors itself. I'm going to start with these 2 sections here. And then I'll go over here and do at least one of these. And just lift it up so that it's flush with this surface here, and press that against the side. Okay, and I'll go over here. Something completely different. We've never done anything like this before, and I hope you guys love it. And it may not be completely flush all the way. That's okay. As long as most of it is making contact, that's all we're concerned about. And just lining that up with the very top, or the very bottom, I should say, I guess, if you look at it that way. Okay. There we go. You just work your way around until we have all of these in place. And the reason we're doing this is to create a little bit of separation between the lights and the vellum, so that the vellum's not right on top of the lights, because otherwise you're going to see the actual, each LED would be too prominent, and I didn't want that. I wanted it to be diffused. Okay. go. And got a couple more over here. There we go. Okay, cool. So that's that. It does make it a little heavy. That's okay. I'm going to pop this on top, like so. All right, now let's take a look at the main part of our butterfly here, and let's just double check and make sure that we don't have any unsightly gaps. If we do, you can paint just a little bit of glue right onto those little areas. If a little bit squirts out, just rub it off before it gets a hold, before it dries. That looks great. Okay. And this is going to go right on top, like so. Okay. So what I would recommend doing here is actually applying glue to the actual lid. You can do a nice thick line of glue here, because we're going to take and spread this out with our fingers. Now, I'm just going to be honest here, you know, because of the shape, it's not square, you know. It's gonna have, well, when we design it with all of our software and everything is supposed to turn out perfect, but you know, it's paper, it breathes. It's not always the easiest thing to work with, especially with shapes like this. So you just have to do your best, and again, it's still gonna look great. Okay, so it doesn't matter which side you use here. Just line that up right onto the surface. Press that down. And a little extra glue there popping out. Just rub off, get that excess off. Make sure you don't blemish the black, because that white glue, even though it says it dries clear, black is its nemesis. As far as, you know, when it dries on black, it leaves a little bit of a sheen, and it's not always the best looking. So just be careful. But that looks pretty good. And press and hold that down. And a little extra glue there. Just rub that off. Okay. Okay. All right, so that is just about it for this one. We do have one more layer that's going to go on top here. Okay, and that's just to add a little bit of color to this guy. Okay, so let's go ahead and fold here at the little score marks, and we're going to need to glue these down one at a time. Okay, so we are getting there. I did one more go around just to make sure that everything is sitting nice and flush, and you know, the more I continue to do it, the more I start to see little imperfections, and I do really like to take my time and clean up all of these little things, because again, you're never going to be perfect, but it doesn't mean that you can't strive for perfection. I don't think perfection is attainable, but you know, in your head, think about what perfection might be and just do your best. I mean, look at even AI. AI can't even draw a hand properly. What a joke. What a joke that is. Pardon me. Okay. All right, so let's go ahead, and one other thing too here on these little antennae, we did not glue those down, or at least I didn't, just because I was mostly focused on trying to get everything else lined up. So you can kind of spread these two apart and just paint a little bit of glue on each of these, and then just grab them and press them together. And once they're dry, we can kind of train them if you want to give them a little bit of, well, if you want to kind of angle them up a little bit, that's fine, you can do that. All right, so now, last step here is to put this piece on. Okay, and let me figure out, this is gonna go on the bottom here. So what we're gonna do, and there is gonna be an even border on both sides here. We're gonna go like this. This is gonna be a valley fold on each end. We're gonna start by anchoring this in the middle. So go ahead and apply some glue to this little area here where you have the two folds. Pop that in there. Make sure it's centered so that you have equal amounts of white on the top and bottom. And then just press that down like so. I'm using a dowel. Okay, and then you can kind of peel this back and just very gently, just go kind of sparse on the glue here. Just make sure you get it out to the edges and bring that glue out to the edge. And just kind of wrap it, make sure it's making good contact with the white all the way around. This will also kind of thicken things up and make it a little more sturdy. You want to make sure you do this part first because we have this little tab here, just in case we don't get it perfect. This tab will hide any little gaps, but I think you're gonna do just a fine job of getting this in place. Just make sure it's making contact throughout. Now once we get it down here, peel that little tab back, apply some glue on it, and press that into place. Make sure it's really in that crevice. There we go. Just like that. And let's go over, I really love this paper, by the way. It makes it so much more magical, almost like these butterflies are floating around with some, what are they called? Lightning bugs? It's pretty cool. All right, and take that and press that up against the white, making sure it's nice and flush all the way around. Okay, there we go. Just like that. And then we can take and pull this tab back and then just press that down into place. And just press and hold that in place. Okay, now I'm going to go up here and we can connect this piece to this piece. So go ahead and apply a little bit of glue to this tab. These are the two longer strips now. Okay, and right here where you have this straight, well, it's not really a tab, it's more of a fold. It's just this little area here. Just get those two sections connected and press that down. Okay, make sure it's nice and flush, nice and centered. Okay, then we're going to do valley folds like this. And we'll take and apply our glue right to that tab again. We're going to pop that right in here, right in the center. And as we do that, let's also make sure that when we wrap this around, it meets up with that other one. And that one looks good. And make sure this is nice and flush. And that one looks good. Okay, so just press that into place. If you need to use a little dowel, feel free. Just to hold that in place for a second. Okay. And then we'll apply our glue to this long strip. focusing it around the perimeter. You can throw a little bit in the middle just for good measure, but don't really need to. And just make sure it's hugging and making contact onto this white throughout. And if you need to kind of move it a little bit to maintain an even border on both sides, you might have to do that. It's weird. You would think that you wouldn't be able to do that because it's such a straight piece, but yeah, I mean, it can move a little bit. Okay, just make sure it's nice and flush all the way up to this section here. And just press that down onto that tab that we glued down. That one tab that I said we might need in case we're off a little bit and we need to make it nice and seamless looking. And that's what we just did. So that definitely helped. Just kind of run your finger along the rest of it again, making sure it's nice and flush, no gaps. There we go. And then the finishing touch, put that glue all the way around. Make sure it goes nice and straight, even border all the way around, pushing down as you go, as you wrap it. And bam, look at that. Terminates perfectly. Now, it may seem like it's a little off, but that's just because the box, it's just not thick enough to maintain its shape. So you kind of have to nudge it back into position. Just kind of nudge that in if you have to. You might not have to, but I did. And there we go. Okay, so a very cool little pattern. Okay, so obviously, and again, I might need to change the battery out on this thing because I've been playing with this one. I might have left it on. That is what it looks like before. And then you can see how it lights up. This camera does not do it justice. It is very vibrant and it's a decent sized gift box. And again, I think that it's gonna make not only a cool little gift box, but it will double as a beautiful little nightlight. So that's gonna do it as I wrap this up in the dark. Hope you guys enjoyed the video. If you did, please take a moment, visit us on our YouTube channel, hit that subscribe button, and while you're there, hit the little bell so you get notifications anytime we release a new project, whether it be paid or free. And if you make this or anything from our new bundle, I'd love to see it, and so would the rest of our community. So head over to your Facebook and do a search for Dreaming Tree Official. That's where you'll find myself and over 46,000 of our closest friends and crafters. So that's it. Hope you guys enjoyed it. And as always, I look forward to crafting with you again. Hey, thanks for crafting along with me. I hope you enjoyed this video. If you did, check out some of our other videos and please consider hitting that subscribe button. Also, don't forget to visit our site and check out our free SVG section where you'll find over 140 free SVG files complete with assembly tutorials. I'll see you in the craft room.